Hey there. I haven't done a video in a long time due to, well, life being crazy, but I thought it might be a good idea to start a series of videos of various gadgets and other things in a format which was easy for me to make and that provided you with some hopefully useful opinions and information beyond a standard YouTube review. So, for each video, I'm going to discuss a particular gadget or thing and give you my top 5 things you should know about that device. They might be my own personal observations, impressions, or just tips on how to use it, and hopefully that will be of some use to you, be it if you're deciding to buy it or if you're using one already. So here we go. First up is the Xiaomi Mi Air Purifier 2, which I ordered online and received about 2 weeks ago when I decided that some of the rooms in our house had too much dust. And also we had just welcomed a new baby boy into our family, so I wanted to make sure the quality of the air in our house was optimal. After doing some research on the web, I settled on the Xiaomi second generation air purifier. I've always been a big fan of Xiaomi products, and I own a number of their other offerings. Whilst Xiaomi don't produce a lot of things themselves, except for their phones, their products are usually of a consistently high quality, whilst always being priced very well since they are aimed at the Asian market. As usual, I waited for a good price to come up on my favourite website, Ozbargain, and got a great deal from an eBay store named Mytopia, with a 20% code which brought the price down to $167. This brings me to my first thing you should know about this air purifier. It's cheap. I didn't really know what to expect price-wise when I first started looking for an air purifier, but soon I found out that the Xiaomi is actually pretty cheap compared to most other purifiers which are available on the Australian market. Most other purifiers that you can get in this price range are only suitable for a much smaller volume of air than the Xiaomi, which is rated for 310 cubic meters of clean air delivery per hour. If you look at your average JB Hi-Fi or Good Guys store, you'll see that air purifier prices can go right up to thousands of dollars. Of course, you also have to consider that the Xiaomi doesn't do anything super fancy like negative ion generation or UVC filtration, but it's still very good at basic 2.5 micron filtration, which will remove dust, plant pollen, and pet fur, amongst other things. So when you compare what you're getting for around $170 compared to what you would pay for a similarly featured competing device, the Xiaomi comes out far ahead. Whilst we're on the topic of price, I should also add that the filters for the Xiaomi, which last around 6 months or more if you want to run a vacuum cleaner over them, can be bought on eBay for between $45 and $60, which isn't too bad, I thought. The second thing you should know about the Xiaomi Air Purifier 2 is that it's actually quite big. Don't be fooled by Xiaomi's marketing, which states that this second generation purifier is a massive 40% smaller than the previous model. The dimensions are 24 centimeters long and 24 centimeters wide, and it's 52 centimeters tall. So you can't exactly put it on the kitchen bench or hide it away on a shelf or a desk. It's going to take a bit of space wherever you want to put it. That said, it's aesthetically very pleasing to look at, and it only weighs around 5 kilograms, so it's not too difficult to carry around from room to room, which is something that you might want to do to freshen up different areas of the house. The third thing about the Xiaomi Mi Air Purifier 2 is that at its highest setting, it can be very loud, like as loud as a vacuum cleaner. This is probably a bad thing for most people, but for our family it was actually a positive, as the purifier's noise acted as white noise in our bedroom where we had our newborn. But of course everyone's use case is different, and this might be a concern for you if you want to run it at its highest setting all the time. The fourth thing you should know about this air purifier regards the different operating modes that can be selected. Whilst there are a lot of reviews of this device all over the internet, there are actually very few which provide a relatively scientific analysis of its performance compared to other purifiers on the market. One of the most popular in-depth reviews of this purifier starts off with a controversial title stating, "Xiaomi Auto Mode leaves air unsafe 86% of the time." This, of course, seems like something pretty bad and makes you question whether you should be buying this purifier in the first place. But if you actually read the article, you'll find out that it's not all bad, and you just need to understand how the device works and what you need to do in order to make it effective. You see, you have to understand that the Xiaomi Mi Air Purifier 2 has 2 main modes of operation, Auto Mode and Favorite Mode. Auto Mode is extremely quiet and puts out a relatively low flow of air through the device. Favorite mode, however, is a configurable mode, and you can set the fan speed in accordance to the room size. The lowest fan speed is for a room size of 1 to 4 square meters, and you can go up to 100% fan speed, which is the 34 to 37 square meter setting. Although, if you go into the options, you can actually enable a turbo mode, which will make the fan run even faster, covering 42 to 45 square meters. Going back to the review I mentioned earlier, they essentially state that the auto mode of this purifier is hopeless and you need it to run at 100% fan speed to obtain any benefit. That may seem fine to you, but the problem, however, is that the Xiaomi air purifier is programmed so that you can't run the device at 100% for more than 3 hours. In other words, if you start the purifier at 100% just before you go to sleep, it will only stay in this mode for the first 3 hours before switching back to the very low powered auto mode for the remainder of the night. Personally, I've tried a few ways to get around this annoying bug, which I assume has been put in place to reduce wear and tear on the motor. I've tried also using the automation feature of the app to try and restart high mode every 3 hours, but this hasn't worked for me. I've also tried restarting high mode every 3 hours and say 2 minutes just in case it needed some downtime, but this hasn't worked either. However, I found a satisfactory second best option, and this brings me to the fourth thing you should know about this purifier. What I've discovered is that instead of setting at 100%, you can set it at about 80% speed, which works out to be the 22 to 25 square meter setting, and this will bypass the 3-hour operating limit so that you can leave it on all night. Sure, it isn't the top speed that the purifier can work at, but it's close to it and it will stay on as long as you want it to. I've run it for over 12 hours at this speed with no problems at all. The last thing which I think is important to know about this machine is that, in my experience, the dust sensor isn't accurate, at least not in the environment which I've been using it. Now, we're pretty lucky and live in a city which doesn't suffer from bad air pollution, and we're on the coast, so we get a nice sea breeze most days. So I wasn't surprised to find that our air quality readings came in between 5 and 50. What I've found though is that the air quality reading seems to dance around quite a bit, and even when the purifier has been on for a while, the air quality reading won't go down at all. Sometimes it even goes up. Now, you could argue that perhaps the filter isn't working at all, but I'm quite certain that the air is cleaner after a while, so that leads me to think that the dust sensor just isn't that good at measuring the air quality accurately. And I'm not the only one who has found this. There are quite a few reports on the web of people coming to the same conclusion. So there you have it, my 5 things you should know about the Xiaomi Mi Air Purifier 2. Do you agree with everything I've said in this video? Perhaps you've discovered some other things that you'd like to share. As always, let me know in the comments, and if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, as I'm hoping to put out quite a few more of these types of videos in the near future. That's it from me. Thanks for watching.